to win the IC. Dominic with a frog splash and the cover on Balor. Dominic wins the championship.
41st edition of WrestleMania has concluded. The year is 2025, and man, oh man, welcome to the Unscripted 101 podcast. You guys know the drill already. I gotta say, there's a lot of things to say, but let's keep it simple and let's keep it real. You know, it's funny because I had an opportunity to listen to a lot of clips from a lot of fans and marks and all sorts of stuff about WrestleMania, and everybody has various opinions. Some are angry, some are happy, some are like, some are like, there's so much. But let me sum this up to make it as easy as possible, because a lot of people are in the complicated era. They like complication, they like drama, they like controversy. The WWE is a business now. They are owned by TKO. They are run by a worldwide conglomerate business. There is always going to be wrestling involved, but there's the factor that people need to understand, that there's a business side of it. So there are some people that are going to be there because they're supposed to be there for business purposes, and there are some people there because the fans love them, and there are some people that are going to be there because it's a majorly, solely a business decision. So as far as the entertainment, as far as the whole spectacle, the promotion, the stage, the whole spectacle, the experience of WrestleMania, I give it a 10 out of 10. Because this is what you want as a fan. You get the access to so many classic things and memorabilia and some of the legends of wrestling, and even the current stars of the WWE. You get to partake in so many things that when I was watching WrestleMania as a kid, you couldn't get that. You just got the WrestleMania show Sunday, which usually started at 4 p.m. And by 7 p.m., 8 p.m., it was done. There was no WrestleMania access. There wasn't any of this stuff. And the reason why I could talk about it, because I lived that. A lot of these people that are doing their podcast and show, they weren't even born when this happened. So they're going to be basing it on their perspective, which is the last maybe 10, 15 years. Maybe some of them 20 years. That's as far as they're going to be able to go. I can talk about WrestleMania 1. I was here on this planet for WrestleMania 1. And I'm still here, God bless, for WrestleMania 41. And I've watched every single one. And the evolution of the promotion and the whole spectacle has just evolved to another level, which is fantastic because it draws you in to WrestleMania. It really does draw you in. The whole promotional thing draws you in. Forget about the matches. We'll get into the matches in a minute. But the whole spectacle of it, it draws you in. So shout out to WWE for the whole promotional thing. The whole Netflix thing. People are whatever. Hey, that's a smart deal. They got the deal. Some people are mad about it. Hey, if you have Netflix, you get to watch it. That's it. Like, there's a lot of like whining and complaining and bitching, and come on, guys. The whole entertainment spectacle, the price, back then pay-per-views were like $70. To watch WrestleMania for 3.5, 4 hours was $30. Sorry, not $30. We started off at closed circuit. A lot of you that weren't around on this planet don't know about closed circuit. It was closed circuit TV. Then we got to pay-per-views, and it started off at like $25, $30. Then they got to 40, 50, 60. At some point in time, it reached over $70 to watch a show. And you didn't get all of this. You didn't get pre-shows. You didn't get all the YouTube stuff for free. They're putting stuff on YouTube for free. Now YouTube has matches. Some of the YouTube channels, they got entire pay-per-views. They got WrestleMania 3. They got WrestleMania 3 at its entirety on YouTube, We can't complain. I wish this was happening when I was watching wrestling as a kid. Getting all of WrestleMania 3, WrestleMania 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and so on. But YouTube wasn't around yet. You guys can call me old. I'm not old. I'm just one of those guys that was able and blessed and still is to experience the history of WrestleMania. So all those complaining, come on, seriously. If you're able to go there, you spent your money. You're probably mad that The Rock wasn't there. I know a lot of people have been bitching about that too, but they didn't advertise him. If he shows up as a surprise, great. But he was not advertised for a match, and he doesn't have to be there if he doesn't want to. He doesn't have to. So all this and all this other stuff, whatever. Let's calm down. So the entertainment value, the whole spectacle, 10 out of 10. The fan stuff, people are buying championship belts, like the replicas, and they're so cool. It's amazing to see that. It's amazing that there are parents in my age group that are bringing their kids and grandkids. No, I'm not that old. Calm down, folks. And able to share that experience with them. You know, that's what you want. You want to share the experience and history. So a lot of people just sitting down, spending hours bitching on their podcast and, making these comments, but yet they're there. They're either watching the show in its entirety or they're there, they spent the money and still bitching. Then don't go. Because for the 124,000 plus the average for the whole weekend, I think was both shows combined, I would say, to be honest, there was about 58 to about 60,000 per night. That's good. This is not the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan for WrestleMania 3 where they had like 100,000 seats and the alleged numbers was 93,000 plus. And it was just one show. And a star-studded cast of wrestlers putting on some of the greatest matches in the history of WrestleMania. Savage and Steamboat is one of them. One of the greatest matches in the history of WrestleMania and still is up until today. So the evolution, amazing. So now let me get down to the card itself. And Logan and AJ Styles, it was a good match. Logan Paul still doing, I know a lot of people hate on Logan Paul because he's an internet kid and whatever. But you know what? He took advantage of what he had. He used his resources and put himself in this position to be successful. I can't hate on a kid like that. He did what he needed to do and he put himself in the right position. There's a lot of people doing exactly what he's doing and they're not doing it right. Or they just are only doing it for certain things. He did it. He put himself in the right place at the right time. He not only has had some good matches, he surprised me. He didn't just come in to be a good-looking guy and pose up and all. No. Comes in and he's actually putting in some work. He actually could wrestle. So shout out to that match. Logan Paul did win that match. Randy Orton versus Joe Hendry. Shout out to Joe Hendry, man. Indies guy. He's been fighting in the Indies forever. It's not about him winning and losing. It's that moment. Does he deserve it? I'm sure there's 15,000 other wrestlers that deserve it, but he was the chosen one, and he put himself in the right position. Damian and Drew. That match was interesting. Drew winning it, I thought it was, it was good. It continues the storyline, so I'm not going to get into that too much, but I like how the match ended. It was good. It was smooth. It was easy. Women's tag team title match. Becky Lynch coming back. The pop was great. Like I said, I'm not a fan of the Liv Morgan thing with the wrestling, but I'm a fan of her entertainment value. Her entertainment value is absolutely spot on. And that's what you want. And she was good too in that match. So shout out to Liv Morgan. Shout out to Raquel. Lyra and of course Becky took the titles. That storyline should continue. The Intercontinental Championship
Apologies
match.
for technical difficulties. Let's get back to it. So before the situation there with the shutdown, I was mentioning the Intercontinental Championship. That match was a classic in terms of just the way it went, how it was set up, and the finish. Dominic Mysterio, wow. Didn't expect that. The pop afterwards, wow. that's a WrestleMania moment. And that's great. I think it's good for wrestling. I think it's good for the fans, and it's unexpected. And once again, the Intercontinental Championship steals the show at WrestleMania. This was one of the best 2 matches of the night for night 2. That was one of the best 2 matches. And it's funny that the last match I'm going to mention, I predicted the finish. And I love how that match went. And once again, I'm just saying, like, WrestleMania has these unexpected turns, and this was an unexpected turn, but it was a great way of just being like, wow, that was a wow moment. So shout out to the 4 guys that competed in the Intercontinental Championship match, the 4-way match at WrestleMania. Cena and Rhodes, can't expect too much from John in the wrestling sense in terms of wrestling ability, but you can with the entertainment. His demeanor, his entrance was classic. He just didn't give a crap. I mean, everybody's crying and bitching about this match. Yes, the match wasn't great. It was a 5 out of 10. But again, this is what you get. John getting his 17th World Championship. The finish pissed off a lot of people. I thought it was, but still, that's what it is. So now we are going to see what happens with Cena, how long he's going to hold that title, and what happens with Cody. Is there somebody new that's going to come in? Is Roman, CM Punk? Remember, CM Punk did say, I'll see you guys down the road. Maybe this is an opening for CM Punk to come in and, take the title from Cena. I would say CM Punk will come in and, after the whole Paul Heyman Seth situation. But I think it's going to be more Roman versus Seth and CM Punk. But anyways, I'll talk about that afterwards. And the last match that I have to mention, wow. Triple threat match for the women's world title, Rhea, Io, and Bianca. What a match. Once again, all 3 of these women in a big match at WrestleMania. And once again, all 3 of these women putting on a fantastic match. Like I said, the women's division is solid. And when you get 3 women in there that know what they're doing, you get a finish like that. Io Sky, of course, retaining the title with that amazing moonsault from the top rope. I predicted it. I felt that she should win. Would help the storyline continue with Bianca and Rhea, and it did. It was fantastic. I have nothing more to say about that. That was beautiful. Like, that's wrestling. And if you're a wrestling fan, that's what you want to see. And I just, and I did I mention Randy and Joe Henry? If I didn't, well, I will. Joe Henry getting his WrestleMania moment, but I think I did. But yeah, it's, wow. I mean, it's the Io Sky situation. And later on in this breakdown, I'm going to go to what's going on in New Japan. There's a few things happening in New Japan right now. And yeah, this is a WrestleMania wrap-up show, but this is wrestling for me. And there's a few things I want to mention. And Io Sky coming from that Stardom, New Japan pedigree. It's just another reason why I keep telling people, if you haven't watched New Japan Pro Wrestling, please take it in. You will not be disappointed at all. Like, you will not. They give it their all. They put in their all. They, so. But yeah, so that was night 2. Night one, which was interesting. Jade Cargill versus Naomi. I'm going to start with that. Jade Cargill coming in and doing her thing. Again, she's green. She's still green, Another powerhouse like Rhea and Raquel Rodriguez. Super powerhouses. Of course, no Nia Jax for WrestleMania, no Piper Niven, but in that powerhouse era where, she's got some things. She's got some moves. She's got a couple of moves. She's going to get better. She beats Naomi. That storyline's great. Naomi's entrance into WrestleMania, absolutely stellar. Naomi
had the crowd, it was just absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Forget it. Excuse me. Forget all the non-wrestling stuff. I know some people are very critical and all that. But, yeah, forget that. El Grande Americano defeats Rey Fenix. Rey Fenix gets his debut. Rey Fenix, fantastic. AEW guy who was so talented, needed that moment just to get him back into where he belongs. I shouldn't say belongs. Get him to where he needs to be mentally. Because AEW, you read the reports and you listen to some of the podcasts, and it was just a bad relationship. So shout out to Rey Fenix and, of course, El Grande stealing the match, of course. New Day defeats War Raiders next. Jey Uso and Gunther. What a storyline. There's a lot of cracks in the storyline. I mean, I love Jey Uso, so I love that he won. Beating Gunther the way he did, I felt there could have been another way of doing it, but the question is, where does Gunther go from here? What are they going to do with Gunther? Because he's been this dominant factor for the last, 7-8 years, holding multiple titles, doing multiple things. Does he get a rematch? Does he build towards fighting for the world heavyweight, for the undisputed WWE championship? You don't want to waste a talent like Gunther. Gunther is a technical wrestling specialist. That's why they call him the ring general. But we all know that the real and the greatest ring general of all time is, of course, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Which leads me to Charlotte and Tiffany Stratton. I have been a little critical about Tiffany Stratton, not as the person, the wrestler. She earned her stripes to get in. I don't care what anybody says. Anybody that gets there, they earned it. But she showed a level of toughness that I was like, wow. She showed a level of toughness in this match. And she deserved the match. She deserved to win. And she deserved everything in that match. Wow. She showed a level of toughness that, you belong here. So shout out to her. Shout out to Charlotte. Good match. Jacob Fatu, my guy. LA Knight. Solid match. It was a good match. Jacob Fatu coming in. Of course, springboard moonsault. I mean, Vader, Bam Bam Bigelow. Every time I see him, it just reminds me of those two. It's just crazy how the big men have evolved in wrestling, the last 20, 30 years. I remember when I first saw Bam Bam Bigelow doing that, I was like, yo, really? Vader, really? Of course, Vader and Bam Bam Bigelow both fighting in Japan, both fighting in New Japan, so New Japan fans know about that. But shout out to Jacob Fatu, continuing the legacy of course, the Inoue family, the bloodline, and of course, the big man legacy. Wow. He's a sight. I don't know. If you don't like this guy, I don't know what to tell you. He's great. The triple threat match. I felt like these guys were fighting over a girl or something, or they were fighting over a toy. And I'm talking about Paul Heyman. I felt like there should have been a bigger purpose to this match, like a championship match. The match itself, classic. I mean, everybody kicking out of everybody's finishing moves. But it was a classic match. Just the Paul Heyman thing, ugh, come on, guys. But again, it's wrestling. Hopefully the storyline evolves into something. I hope this is not the dead in the water thing for the storyline. And that's about it. But that triple threat match was a classic. That night one was so good. It was way better than night two. I'm sorry. My overall thing for WrestleMania, my overall out of 10 would be 6 out of 10. 6.5 out of 10. And I think most of it is because of night two. I think night one, I would have given it a 7.5. But night two, with some of the matches, there's 3 matches there no. No, sorry. But again, I'm just a fan. I'm not a fanboy. I'm not a critic. I'm not a mark. This is wrestling. This is an evolution of the business and the overall spectacle in terms of the fan stuff, like I mentioned earlier, and everything else. It makes it a fantastic experience. So if you were at WrestleMania live, shout out to you all for the experience, the moments. You can't replace those. You can't pay for that. And for all the wrestlers, NXT, WWE, who were in that ring, shout out to you guys. It's the hardest job in the world. Not just to entertain, but to put in a good match at a moment that forever will be marked as historical when it comes to WrestleMania. So now let me finish off with AEW here. And when I mentioned AEW, I saw what AEW did. They had an amazing, a 5-star match between Takeshita and Will Ospreay. I have to mention it. That's the thing about AEW is their 5-star matches. And the funniest thing, a 5-star match, one of the best matches for the entire week, was an AEW match. Will Ospreay and Takeshita. Takeshita, again, New Japan Pro Wrestling. I mean, if you guys don't know by now about New Japan Pro Wrestling, you better know about it now. Even the fact that guys are leaving now, so a lot of departures happening, it's still great. And shout out to those two. And it's funny that they did their Collision show on Thursday, and I'm very intrigued by some of the comments people made. But I'll say this. The reason why they put it on Thursday, because they know what was happening Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There was no way anybody's going to watch Collision with WrestleMania happening. It's not happening. I don't care what you say. AEW did an intelligent thing having Collision on Thursday. At least they get their viewership, whatever it is, and let the WWE do what they do. Because even if Collision happened when it was supposed to happen Saturday evening, nobody was watching that. That was WrestleMania. WWE was not going to be denied on the 19th and the 20th of April. It wasn't going to happen. So AEW doing what they did, smart move, putting their shows. And, you know, again, like I said, Takeshita and Will Ospreay. Wow. Oh, man. If you haven't checked it yet, Google it, YouTube it, whatever you need to do. I'm going to finish off with some New Japan news. If some of you don't know already, Naito is leaving. Apparently, his last appearance will be May 4th. The word is, and directly through the New Japan site, is I guess they couldn't come to an agreement contract-wise, but Naito's had some injuries the last little while that needs to be taken care of. So now if this is it for Naito, wow. Naito Omega, Naito Okada, Naito Ospreay. Like, I can keep going on with some of his greatest matches and some of the greatest 5-star matches in wrestling history. Not New Japan history, wrestling history. Naito and Omega, that was a 5-star match for the ages in the history of professional wrestling. So if this is it for Naito, it sucks. Hopefully it's not. Maybe, he rests up, he comes back, and, Bushi, of course, another member of Los Ingobernables de Japón. He's gone too. So I don't know what's going to happen with that group. It's going to be interesting. New Japan's had a lot of defectees. Of course, Jeff Cobb is gone. Well, he's now officially gone. So we'll see how that goes with them. But it's crazy how wrestling is. So we'll see how that goes. And on that note, that's it. I'm signing out. I told you guys this ain't going to be no 2-hour rant or Mark show or whatever. WrestleMania weekend, fantastic in terms of the spectacle and some of the matches. AEW had a couple of 5-star matches. And New Japan, of course, the news coming out, and of course their recent show, Sakura Genesis, had some fantastic matches also. So yeah, I'm signing out. Good morning, good day, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm out. Peace.